How to save the planet in 5 easy steps. A personal perspective derived from hope and experience. Do you believe in climate change? Do you believe that it is being accelerated by human activity? Do you believe that we need to fight deforestation? Do you believe that we need to act to ensure that future generations will live on a habitable planet? If you answered yes to any of the above questions, chances are you are feeling frustrated by the direction of government policies around the world. You might want to change this. How do we change this in the face of opposition? There's no point in shoulds or coulds. People are complicated and need to have a choice about their actions. Ultimately, the only person we can control is ourselves. If we want others to follow suit, we are stuck with waiting for them to make that choice. In my experience, it's not easy, but here are some things that I've worked out since jumping on this bandwagon way back in the 1990s. 1. Accept that some people won't change. 2. Find the evidence to support your words and actions. 3. Share good news. 4. Encourage connection with nature. 5. Accept that small changes are a great start. Not convinced? Please stay with me while I elaborate. Accept that some people won't change their minds. Unfortunately, some people aren't going to change their minds. It doesn't matter why or why not. There's nothing to be gained by trying to force an opinion. As a wonderful mentor once said to me, be like water. Look for opportunities to erode away with little changes. It's very hard to reverse the changes when a river has slowly carved a new path over a long period of time. Find the evidence. Make sure you can back up your opinions and actions with evidence that will get people thinking. Combat myths. Expose yourself to sources who are using evidence and strategies to challenge climate skeptics. For example, Dr. John Cook talks about the value of parallel argumentation, using analogies to expose the weakness of an argument by placing it into a different context. It's used frequently by comedians to make us laugh. Check out the video linked in this clip for more information on that. Dr. John Cook also has a dedicated website to help people access evidence to use in conversation. I'll pop a link in the description below. Just Have a Think is a thought-provoking YouTube channel that covers a range of relevant topics. Again, I'll put a link in the description below. After watching one of the videos on Just Have a Think, I wrote an article on disruptive technologies, and I've had feedback from friends and family that they found it strengthened their hope in the future. That demonstrates our strength as writers. Share good news. I strongly believe that people aren't going to change the world as a result of a fear campaign. It certainly hasn't worked so far. Many people feel there's little point in action with all the bad news. Fear is not an effective motivator. Hope is. If we share hope or fear balanced by hope, people are far more likely to make small changes. In fact, I've had comments from family, friends and colleagues that started about solutions like those in It Starts With a Trickle. It motivates them more than anything else. Encourage connection with nature. There are many ways to connect with nature, from the kitchen to the garden to art and more. Recently, I interviewed Alex from Little Bee's Secret Garden, and she reminded me of Sir David Attenborough's quote, "No one will protect what they don't care about, and no one will care about what they have never experienced." We need to nurture nature connection. If people experience nature, they are more likely to care about nature, and then they are more likely to make changes to help nurture it in turn. Accept that small changes are a great start. With all the doom and gloom statistics, it's easy to feel that big change is needed right now. The truth is, that's out of the sphere of influence for most of us. Our only path is to change what we can and hope it's enough. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Change in a still pond starts with something breaking the surface of the water. A large disruption is destructive. A small pebble will produce ripples that eventually spread across the water without damage. We don't have to change everything at once. Change isn't easy, and for a lot of people, even the tiniest change is a big compromise. If we are kind and recognise the smallest efforts, we create the conditions conducive to bigger efforts. Most change is exponential. It starts slow and builds momentum. It starts with a trickle and becomes a flood. I'm reminded of the quote from Anne-Marie Bonneau, the zero waste chef. We don't need a handful of people doing zero waste perfectly. We need millions of people doing it imperfectly. Final thoughts. The effort to save the planet doesn't need to mean huge changes for individuals, but it does mean a huge number of individuals making changes. We can start those changes by creating small ripples that are almost unseen at first, but ultimately change the face of the world. If we all do what we can, when we can, to live more sustainably and be kinder to each other on the earth, the possibilities are infinite.